Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moovs Moments. My name is Pete Evenson, co-founder of Moovs and your host today. Moovs is an all-in-one solution for your transportation business, whether you're just starting out or you've been in the industry for some time. Moovs provides the easy software to delight your customers, drive more sales, and automate your day-to-day. From website creation to payments and dispatch automation, we're here to help create operators of the future. Now, without further ado, please welcome me. I'm announcing one of my favorite people, Matt Kenny, from Drive Ahead, based here in Boulder, Colorado. Welcome, Matt. How are you?
Great, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. So how I like to do Moves Moments is keep it super conversational. I want to be able to just learn about your business, how do you get started, and a little bit about your background as well. And then we'll dive in a little bit about Moves, and we'll save 5-10 minutes. Just keep it conversational about how your business is doing today and how you expect it to grow in the future. Cool?
Yeah. So good.
All right. So let's jump in. How did you get started with Drive Ahead?
Drive Ahead was founded by a great friend, Chris, who I'd known since I moved to Boulder in 2008. He was like my first friend. And so he's been in and out of running different businesses himself, and then finds himself needing something to do during the COVID-19, I suppose, like unemployment thing that happened to his business. And he knew that I was unemployed as well. So he said, "Hey, Matt, how about we do an electric vehicle only transportation service?" And I thought, great, let's jump in and do it. He had a couple of vehicles. We needed to change them over to be registered the right way and insured the right way. And we just jumped right in with website and researching for reservation systems and services, what our niche would be, created a quick little business plan, marketing plan, and really we're up and running within about 6 weeks, which is amazing to think about, actually.
Do you have a background in transportation?
No, neither of us do, actually.
Okay.
My background's in hospitality. So I managed at the Four Seasons in Jackson Hole for a while. Before that, another resort in Jackson Hole. My education's in hotel management. And so I think, I love the guest interaction, the customer interaction, and being able to really take on that surprise and delight aspect, which Chris really embraced. I think, I don't know if he had this really thought about is like what sort of service level we're going to offer, but I think that was what he wanted me to own when he brought me on as his partner to really suss out and see where we can take our niche.
Tell me about your relationship with Chris. How long have you guys been friends for? How did you guys meet? And is this your first business venture together, or have you guys worked on things in the past?
So Chris was dating our first neighbor when my wife and I moved to Boulder in 2008, and great things come out of bad things, and to come out of that situation, and so we've known each other for a long time. He was really busy doing whatever other ventures he's done. His other thing is really like event medical services, so supplying like county cross-country meets or mountain biking meets with an emergency service should they need it. And so that's when those meetups started to not happen. That's when he and I sort of came together and made Drive Ahead. But he's been doing other things, paramedic work, other emergency services work between now and when we first met. So he has a husky dog. His dog was always like best friends with my
love that.
Yeah, and we've gone bike riding together in the mountains a bunch. So yeah, I mean, it's great to work with a friend in that super positive way.
For sure. Amir, who's a co-founder of mine, and also Ruben, who you may have not met, but we've known each other since we were 13, 14 years old, right? Wow. So, there's been ideas thrown out in the past about, businesses that we wanted to start, but glad we didn't stick with any of those, and we kept along with Swoop and Moves. But it goes a long way. I mean, I think one thing that people say, and this is to put it in a box, so to speak, but don't start a business with your friend, right? Is the common phrase that we hear from time to time.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, for people listening who may consider having a founder or co-founder on board that's a friend or a relative or a loved one, what has that experience been like for you building a business with one of your friends?
Given that we're so young, it's it's been interesting. Chris is definitely a leadership in our partnership, and that's great. We need someone to define sort of what the roles are going to be, and I'm okay and happy to be that second in command to execute what I need to from with utilizing my expertise while he utilizes his. I think we both see each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we're honest with each other about them. And there's a level of accountability. There's constant brainstorming. We were waiting for. I was going to pick up a gent the other day, and we jumped in the car, and he was in the driver's seat, and I was in the passenger seat, and we just got talking about whatever it was with the business, how we were getting fed, our reservations or what have you, and we're on the same level, just exploring and expressing our concerns or questions about where we're getting these funnel type of aggregator sites and how we're getting them. What's our best? What's our worst one? Which one do you think we can do without? There's a level of honest communication without a doubt that he and I have, and I think any partnership, whether you're best friends from 13, 14 or just 15 years ago or whatever, there's a level of honest communication that you need to have with your partner.
For sure. Yeah. So walk me through Drive Ahead a little bit more. Tell me about the focus in terms of keeping it electric. How did that first come into play? And then let's start from, idea to inception. What sort of things did you need to finalize in order to start your business? Especially for people, there's a lot of people who are considering moves and they're thinking about getting started or they're just getting started. So eager to hear why electric, and then let's dive into inception after that.
Yeah. So we think that electric is the future. There's no doubt about it being a more cost-effective way to power anything. And the way that Teslas are being made and being rolled out from their production facility to the market means that they're becoming more accepted. But they're still in a prestige or a luxury sort of vehicle classification. You compare that with like a Suburban, which is we're often compared against, right? Or a luxury Mercedes, and you think, oh, well, what makes that a luxury vehicle versus a Tesla? Well, they're both really close, and we just wanted to utilize a more modern, environmentally friendly. That's a focus of the company as well. Transportation method, and it's not being done in Colorado, where we think we're the first exclusively electric transportation company service on offer. So we wanted to own that niche. We really wanted to utilize it as a marketing aspect, but also really make an important and valuable change in what our guests and customers are able to choose from. And appealing to those who are a little bit more environmentally friendly or conscious with their decision making. So that was definitely a focus of ours, and it's not so the environmental focus runs through the backbone of the company from obviously utilizing electricity, using solar power to capture our electricity to charge the vehicles, and then buying amenities for our guests in the vehicle in an environmentally friendly way. For example, water, instead of in plastic bottles, we're using aluminum cans or bottles, which are 100% recyclable. So it's a environmental and really owning the niche of electric vehicles.
Feels like Denver or Boulder is the perfect place to do this, right? Right in Colorado, where maybe the clientele is more conscious as far as the environment and giving back and doing the right thing. How did you decide? I mean, obviously that you're there in Colorado, but did that come top of mind and help with that decision?
I think it was more a matter of, we've got two cars, we're in this location, this is our niche, this is the way that we're going, let's just roll with it and see where we can go with it. Because it was, we had, our fleet started small with 2 vehicles, and it was easy to just capture them, take some photos, make that website happen, and get the ball rolling with that and allow an organic growth to happen. That's what we're really looking for over the next 5 years or so is an organic growth that's sustainable. We really want to max out what our current fleet can do before we add in another vehicle or two, and then keep on maxing it out, so that we're growing at a rate that exceeds our capacity, but only just.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. And then, do you envision that you'll expand outside of just Tesla?
It depends on what's on offer. I think if there's a demand, I think Rivian is the next real vehicle to launch. I'd like to see what they come out with. They claim to have been around for 10 or 12 years, which is great, but they haven't put anything in production. Yeah. So although they did like a big like film and video and advertisement, I think in Jackson Hole a couple of months ago. In any case, I don't want to limit ourselves to Teslas. I think they're a great vehicle, but if something else comes out that we value, that's safe, that's modern, and also falls in line with our philosophy, then sure, it's an option. Absolutely.
For sure. So you're in the pandemic, and most people are running away from starting a business. Like, that's the last thing that they want to do, right? You've kind of viewed it as like, hey, let's tackle this with an opportunity, right? Let's play offense here. Yeah. Talk to me about why now? How did it impact your decision at all in the pandemic? And then just through the inception, starting it, talk to me about like what things you had to get done in order to start the business.
Gosh, that's a really big question. So in terms of the pandemic, why did we create it? I think it was just a matter of, if I can answer for Chris, I'll say it's boredom. He was bored doing nothing with his.
Good, and I appreciate the honesty.
And sorry, Chris, if you see this, but he was running his event medical services company, and then with nothing to do and these vehicles available to him, and it's something he thought about, I think, when he was traveling a lot, and he went to these cities. I'm going to throw out like the Middle East area, maybe in France as well, where they're limiting the vehicles or the types of vehicles allowed to do taxi style work or Uber or Lyft or what have you, based upon emissions and reducing air pollution. Right. And so, this was a big inspiration for us and for Chris in terms of like, how can we better utilize our vehicles in offering this service? And given that he had the cars already, it made sense to turn them over. So that was our first realization, is like, wow, I've got the cars. We can offer a service. We can do this because we're already, a third of the way there. Mm-hmm. And then from there on, it was a matter of, what other things do we need? Well, we need, a way to take reservations, and we need a way to find us and to convey messaging, right? So that comes across in a website that we got done. Some photography, I lent on a friend. Her name's Jackie. She's amazing. I worked with her before. We spent a whole day down in Denver with her, shooting photos on our website and other things. And then the other piece of the puzzle is, how do we capture the reservations and how do we manage the reservation enter Moovs, right? Mm-hmm. And we looked at other programs. We looked at Limo Anywhere, and these other ones that just were built, 15, 20 years ago. And we wanted something that was manageable, that wasn't an over-the-top service where we think we're going to be utilizing what we're paying for. And we're not paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and then not utilizing 80% of the software. And we wanted something that was super modern and super just understanding of where the transportation industry is today and where it's going to go in the future. The other thing that spoke to us actually was you. It was you, Pete. I remember. Yep. I think it really was your call to action after I requested like some information. You directly emailed me back saying, hey, let's get on a call and let's figure this out. And so there was a level of ownership that we hadn't, everybody else has these sales reps and they have district managers or whatever. And for us to be able to be like, okay, wow, we've Pete, who's the CEO and co-founder, and Amir jumping on a call with us in 2 days' time to see if our needs are going to match up with what they can offer us. It's a pretty amazing thing. So I think it spoke to us on a number of different levels in terms of functionality, customer service and availability, right. Growth opportunities. There's a number of, I can list off a handful of different things about why Moovs really did take the lead in our investigation of what reservation system we want.
I appreciate that, and I know Amir's going to listen, so I'll give him the shout out. He's the one that's the CEO, and I think the thing that's important to also recognize that I value so much in my relationship with him is that his parents have come from a transportation background. They ran their business for 40 plus years and continue to run it today. So he's been around a transportation company since he was born, essentially, right? And have looked at them and how they've run their business, and now they're using Moovs, which was awesome for us to see, coming from Limo Anywhere to Moovs. So having that industry empathy, not only from how we build the product, but also the people who are behind the companies, is something that we really want to continue to focus on. And I think it's one of the things that we pride ourselves on here at Moovs as well.
It's been really great to lean on Amir, like with our questions, because we're newbies, right? We're the new guys to transportation in Colorado, and to really phrase things of like, hey, how would you recommend, Amir, that we do X, Y, and Z, right? Like, how have your folks done it in the past, or what's your experience or best practice, and how does Moovs conquer that like invoicing issue that he corrected for us a couple of weeks ago? So because we didn't know how to accept or create that invoice and what that would look like. So he really, like, his understanding, and you said empathy, I think just overall involvement in the industry
for sure
is outstanding, and to give best practices, or to say, well, this is how other companies have done it in the past, and obviously other companies is leaning on his folks' business,
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Segue into Drive Ahead. I mean, you guys just got started, and with these companies that are looking to get started, how do you approach marketing in terms of finding customers that are going to come and book through you? What challenges have you faced? What have you found to be successful?
We found a company that's doing a lot of like Google targeted work for us, which is great. I think that's really great to come up on their list. And they bought all sorts of different listings that we had no idea were valued in the internet world. So, and it came about because Chris was trying to find a way to make us, or to buy a Google advertisement or something like that. And he was YouTubing it, and their ad actually came up on YouTube.
Really?
True story, yeah. And
he was marketing on their part.
Yeah, I know, right? And so we were like, if they can do it for themselves, boom, we think that they can do it for us as well. And so we hired, we're still in partnership with them, which is great, to really handle our in Colorado advertisements through Google. And we think that we're getting quite a good number of clicks and a good number of calls from that system. Our budget is pretty tight on that, I think, and that's by design. We dictate the budget, and I wanted to start off small to see where we could do that. Meanwhile, Chris is capturing what they're sort of teaching us, and I think this is a big thing that if for the other newbies is to not hire someone who's not going to teach you to do what they're doing, if that makes sense. And so we went into this agreement with, like, it's called RevLocal. We went into this agreement with RevLocal to for them to sort of teach us how to do this, so we can take it and sort of do something similar with other areas that we're targeting. So Chris is doing another Google initiative for out-of-state AdWords and things of that nature. So, and I think actually dividing it up like that, to have the professionals, or to have an agency really focus on a segment is working to our favor. And then to either do it in-house or have another maybe agency or a small agency do another segment, just to give you different targets and different analysis when you're comparing and contrasting your for us it's domestic Colorado, our internal Colorado, and any other state. We can really compare and contrast to the success rate of those campaigns.
Yep, it's really valuable advice. I mean, I think so often you may pay for an agency or an individual to do the marketing, but at a certain point, you don't know what's going on. Yeah. So you can learn it from them, and the agency becomes valuable when they can also teach you some of these things as well. Makes such a difference, right?
I think it's tricky for them to teach you, because they understand their skill set as well, and they want to hold that exclusivity.
Right.
but at the same time, you don't want to be paying them forever if it's something that you can learn, right? And you've got to turn that on as a newbie to the industry to understand as much as you can about everything that you're doing, so that you can either own it or ask the right questions in the future to say, why aren't we getting better results from our play?
Sure. Yeah. So assuming the universe is also, all signs are pointing to be successful, and you guys are just off to the races, successful.
Yeah.
How do you envision the next 1, 3, 5 years to go for Drive Ahead?
I'd really like our niche of electric vehicles to really expand, and that doesn't mean maybe welcoming new competition to the market. That would be great. Sure, the more people we see in electric vehicles, the better it's going to be for everybody. So I think that's one part that we really want to see, is growth in our niche. But I also want, obviously our success to be growing exponentially. So we would like to add to our fleet over the next 2 years. Really, in the next 6 months, we'd like to see over the summertime, see that growth allow us to add to our fleet and max out what we've currently got, and then to just keep on going. And I think there's a lot of marketing out there that you can get help with, and you can get people to run your Google ads, or you can get aggregator sites to feed you the reservations. But for us, it's most rewarding when we see those great reviews come through, or we have those outstanding interactions, or we know that there's a referral coming. Gosh, there was a great guy that we met at a Green Drinks. I think it's an international meetup for environmentally aware groups, and we went to one last month, and we met a crazy guy, and then lo and behold, 2 days ago, he gives our card to a guy at the bar that he's having a drink with, and he makes a reservation with us. So these ones really give me chills. It's that referral, it's that recommendation of service that really gets me going, to know that we're doing a great service, and that people are trusting us enough with their kids, getting them from the airport to the mountain areas for skiing adventures with their groups, or whatever it is, just to know that we're so heavily relied upon and trusted, that we're worth a referral is outstanding. And that's really where I want to see.
Such a cool story.
Yeah,
you get chills just thinking
about them, though, right? But it's so awesome to meet a random guy at this environmental group, and he was super eclectic, really great guy. And there he is, sitting next to his buddy at the bar, gives him a card, dials us up, and we get a reservation. And he lives in an area that apparently, we didn't know this, apparently they can't get great transportation from the foothills to the airport. It's not like it's an unusual place, it's and he's like, oh, I can't wait to recommend you, and getting suggestions of referrals. And so that's where it's a meaningful growth, and that's what I think I'm looking for, is us to grow in a really meaningful way that people see value in our service.
For sure. Yeah. So last question, if people want to find out about you and the business, how should they get a hold of you? What's the website? What's the social?
Yeah, driveahead.co is our website. There's the Moovs widget right there, so you can click on that to make a reservation. You're welcome. And telephone number is listed there as well. That's easy to do. We're getting a surprising number of calls. I think people are really interested. Maybe it's a pandemic thing where people really want to speak to somebody about their needs. And we're so happy to speak to anybody about their transportation needs. We've had calls where, strangely enough, people are calling us to say, hey, is this the Denver airport? And I said, no. And they're asking, how do they move around the airport, or this, that, and the other? And, I'm a service-oriented person, so I'm on my phone, on the call to them, trying to find them the answer. Or
you're a helper. I mean, you're trying to help them at the same time, even though it may have nothing to do with Drive Ahead. But hey,
absolutely.
Still looking.
I referred Lyft the other day. I mean, they were looking to go, I think it was 7 miles to a hotel from the airport. I was like, it's going to take us an hour or two to get to you. Happy to take the reservation. And then I called her back because the hotel was doing a shuttle service. I was like, let's have you call the hotel, because they've got their own little shuttle for that 7 mile distance. and they're like, oh no, I didn't, like, oh, and I read them the telephone number. I mean, we just want to help people out and get there safely, and hopefully use us, if not this time, then next time, for whatever they need. But yeah, Drive Ahead CO is all our social handles. That's on Twitter, Insta, Facebook, Drive Ahead CO, or driveahead.co for the website. It's easy to get to.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks so much for jumping on. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we're super biased because we have a relationship with you and you're using Moovs, and just being a great customer of ours is something that we appreciate every day. So thanks for jumping on, and best of luck with everything coming up.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete. We'll probably speak next week. All right. Cheers.